Now with that, let's just go to our widget blueprint in our crosshair. First of all, what I want to do, I want to click on each one and give it a name. Click on it, hit F2, this is for left, okay? This one, if you click it in here, it will be clicked in here as well. Hit F2 on it. This one is right. Again, this one is for top. And the last one is bottom, right? So the name is cool. And if we go to graph, what we want to do in here, we want at each frame use that spread amount that we have in our character blueprint class and apply it to our crosshair. Let me show you how you can do that. If we go to designer, what I want to do, for example, right now there is a default spread amount that is 0.5, and I want to bring all of them out like this for 0.5, for example, right? Or multiply it by some value. So how I want to do it, the easiest way to do it, if we click on it and go down in render transform, we can use translation. So in here, when we click in here, when we want, if we want to apply that default spread amount, we can use this translation. For example, in here, this right one, I want to add to X. So I can put 20 in here, for example. You can see I can animate that as well. So for example, this one I want to go up, but let me show you something. If we go to translation in here, what you want to say is that if I change this value to 20, it should go up, right? But it will go down. Why that is happening? Let's just put it at 0. So let me show you something. If we unzoom in here, you can see this ruler 0, and 0 location is here for this translation, right? The 0, 0 location for this is here. So you can see if you want to increase the Y, it goes down. So 500, 1000, 1000 and 500, you can see it, right? But the X, the positive X is going this way. 0, 500, 1000, 1500, and you can see Y, the positive Y is going down, but the positive X is going right. Negative Y will go up, right? So bear in mind for that. I want to bring this up, right? For spreading. So for bring this up, we should use Y. And we should decrease it by a minus value like minus 20. You can see minus 20. You know that this is a 0, 0 location for this image, right? And if we want to bring it up, we should subtract some value from it because the Y positive is going down and Y negative is going up. So now with that knowledge, let's just put everything at 0. I don't want to do it like this, put everything at 0. And I want to do it in graph. You see, first of all, I want to use event tick because we calculate a spread amount in event tick and we want to show that spread amount in event tick in these widget blueprint class, right? First thing that I'm going to do, I want to get over a spread amount variable that is in here. Crosshair spread amount. I want to get this, right? First of all, we should get that. And we did it in animation blueprint as well. What we have done, we use this node, try get pawn owner, and off of that, we cast it to our blueprint third person character, and off of that, we get whatever variable that we want. We can do the same in here as well. So for doing that, we can right click in here and try get pawn owner, but it's not showing us anything because the context sensitive is checked. Uncheck it, and now you can see try get pawn owner. But with that, if we compile, it should give us an error. It's not giving us an error because we didn't connect it to nothing. So if we say cast to third person character, okay, and connect it like this to here and compile it, no, it will give us an error, and it says this blueprint self is not anim instance. So this try get pawn owner is just for anim instance, right? So let's just delete it. This widget blueprint class has its own try get pawn owner, and what it's called is get player pawn. And with this get player pawn, we can get our character, and we can just connect it to here, and it will successfully give us our third person character. Okay, this player index is for multiplayer game, right? The player index 0, it always means us. And if we want to get the other player that we play with them online, we use 1, 2, 3, 4. But it always, if your game is just a campaign mode, you should always use 0 because it is player 0. No, with this we can get crosshair spread amount, right? We can get that no. And with this value, I want to set the position or translation of our bottom, left, right, and top. So let's just do it for bottom first. Get it in here, and let's just go to designer to show you. I want to do it for bottom, right? In bottom, we want to spread it. How we can spread it? We can use the translation. So if we increase the Y value in here, you can see it go down. So we need to increase the Y value. Let's just put it at 0 again and go to our graph. And in here, I want to search for set render translation. Okay, why I did search for that? Again, if you go here, click on our bottom one, you can see we are using render transform translation. Okay, that's why, because it's easier. Let's just go to graph again, connect this execution pin to here, and now we want to tell it where to go, right? So let's just bring it down a little bit. What I want to do in here, I want to change the Y position because it's want to go down, right? So let's just right click on it and split the strike pin and put this crosshair spread amount to the Y. Okay, so let's see what will happen if we put 0.5 for default. Let's just go here, and in here I want to change the translation to 0.5, the default amount. You can see we can barely see it, so it's not enough. Let's see if you put 10 in there. I think it's more like it, right? It's better to have like 10. So let's just implement that. If we go back to graph, what I want to do, I want to multiply by 20. So at default, the Y translation for bottom one should go down 10 units, right? So let's just connect these to here, and I did forget to bring it to 0 in here, so let's just put it at 0. Now if we compile and run our game, now you can see the bottom one has default spread amount, right? Everything cool. We can always change that, but right now let's just stick with that. Let's just again go to graph, and I want to do it for right one now. Let's just put it there, the right one. And again, set render translation. Okay, let's just give it an execution pin. Again, right click in here, split the strike pin. Now we want to add to X, and I want to add to X by this amount again. Let's just compile and run, and you can see the bottom one and right one is spreading for our default spread amount, right? 0.5 multiplied by 20. So now let's just do it for the left and top. Let's just do it for top first. Get the top, and again in here, I can just copy and paste this. Why we should search it always, right? Give it an execution pin, give it the target, and no, because this is the top one, we want to add to Y, right? But we don't want to add to Y. We want to minus it to bring it up, right? So no, I want to get this value like this, multiply it again by -1, right? So it will go up. Put it at here. Now let's just compile and run. And now you can see right, bottom, and top default spread amount is correct. Now let's just do it for the left. So let's just copy this, paste it here, give it an execution pin, give it the target. And now we want to minus from the X. So we can just use this value, -10, right? So let's just put it there. And I will explain it one more time. Let's just go, and you can see we have default spread amount. And again, if we go here and click on default spread amount variable, we can change that to 0.3, for example. Let's just compile. And now you can see it's better now. We always can play with that, with these variables. So let me explain it one more time here. So in Designer, we have a default spread amount of 0.5 that we calculate that we set in our third person character. And with that default spread amount, what we want to do, we want to change the position of these images, these textures, these crosshair sections, right? So we want to change the position of them in translation. And you know that the positive y is going down and positive x is going right. So if we want to bring this top one up, we should minus it by some value. And we did go to graph and we did minus it by some value, right? We put some minus value in there, and now it's spreaded for the top. But for the right and bottom, we just add value to them. The crosshair spread amount is 0.5. The 0.5 is not enough, so we multiply it by some values in here. And with this value, we set the translation y and x of our top, left, bottom, and right side of the crosshair. Now we have a default crosshair spread amount. Now let's just see how we can animate this spreading when we are jumping.